Kalen Joran had never liked company. Machines made more sense than people. Parts fit where they were supposed to. Equations solved exactly as written. Emotions, however, always made life messy. That was why he had taken the job on Uranus 9, a distant research moon known for quiet, cold nights and no visitors. But all that changed the day the sky fell. His ship, the Stariner named Driftlight, was slicing through Uranus orbit when the storm hit. Meteor fragments, glittering like glass knives, tore through the hull. Alarms screamed. The console under Kalen's hands exploded in sparks. He tried to guide the ship down, but the thrusters failed. His final memory before blacking out was the view of Uranus's ice-blue plains rushing up to meet him. When he woke, the first thing he noticed was warmth. Not the metal chill of a med bay, but something softer, like skin. His eyes fluttered open. A figure leaned over him, her hair silver blue, her eyes reflecting moonlight. Her skin shimmered faintly, and her hands pressed gently to his temples. "Do not move yet," she whispered, her voice calm, smooth like water. "Your nervous system is in shock." Kalen tried to speak, but his throat felt like sand. "I am Serenia Vell," she said, eyes still focused on his pulse points. "I found your vessel wrecked beyond repair. I brought you here." He realized he was lying in a strange shelter, half buried under glowing moss. The air tasted sweet, filled with something floral. Outside, the frozen winds howled. "Why?" His voice cracked. "Why help me?" Serenia's gaze did not waver. "Because you are alive. That is reason enough." Kalen's mind recoiled at the simplicity of her answer. He was used to calculations, contracts, survival priorities. Her kindness had no logic dot as she lifted her hands from his skin. He noticed how cold he was beneath the surface warmth. His legs shivered. His fingertips tingled. Serenia tilted her head slightly, as if reading more than his words. Her kind of people, the Velari, were known to sense emotion directly. Kalen had never met one before. Now he was locked in a tiny shelter with her, alone on a frozen moon. Hours passed as he lay still, letting his body recover. Serenia busied herself repairing. What looked like a communication relay hobbled together from Driftlight's wreckage. Her long fingers moved with the precision of a master technician, but her touch held something gentler than Kalen had ever seen in Engineer's dot as the night fell colder. Kalen pulled the thin blanket tighter. "Your thermal output is dropping." Serenia observed without turning. "It is dangerous to stay cold for too long." He forced a weak smile. "I'll survive." She turned then, eyes glowing faintly in the low light. "There is a more efficient solution." Kalen's heart thudded, though he wasn't sure why. His lips were chapped. His breath came in shallow puffs. "May I sit with you?" she asked, voice even. "Physical proximity will share warmth. The Lari body heat is adaptive to human thresholds." Kalen's stomach flipped. He wasn't used to touch. Not anymore. His last relationship had ended 2 years ago with slammed doors and unanswered messages. He began, but Serenia was already moving closer. Her tone remained soft, clinical almost, but her silver blue eyes betrayed something deeper. "Is standard for survival situations," she added, as if to calm him, but nothing about this felt standard dot as she settled beside him. Her arms circled his body with a gentleness that stole his breath. She fit against him like puzzle pieces sliding into place. Her warmth seeped into his skin. Kalen's pulse raced, not from the cold, but from something new. Something alive in his chest that had been quiet for too long. "Better?" she whispered, her voice close to his ear. He couldn't answer. His mind was too busy grappling with the impossible softness of her touch, the way his heartbeat seemed to sync with hers, and the terrifying realization that he wanted her to stay. Exactly where she was dot in the silence of the frozen moon. Kalen realized something shocking. For the first time in years, he did not want to be alone. Kalen didn't sleep that night. Not because of the cold, but because of the way Serenia's breath whispered softly against his shoulder. Her body heat radiated into him, but it wasn't just about temperature anymore. Something deeper had shifted as dawn rose beyond the frozen cliffs of Orvanis 9. Thin bands of lavender light painted the shelter walls. Kalen finally dared to move. He shifted just slightly, careful not to disturb her. But Serenia was already awake. Her eyes opened, silver lashes blinking slowly. "You did not rest," she murmured. Kalen's throat tightened. Didn't need to. Serenia tilted her head, studying him the way a scientist might observe a rare creature. "Your neural frequencies are higher than average. Are you uncomfortable with proximity?" His cheeks warmed again, though the room was still cold. "I'm just not used to it." She said nothing for a moment. Her gaze dropped to his chest, then back to his eyes. "Velari customs are different. We value connection over distance." Kalen's heart jumped in his chest. He wasn't ready to talk about that yet. He forced his attention to the shattered device lying on the table nearby. "I need to get the beacon working," he said, his voice suddenly flat and professional. "If I can send out a signal, maybe someone will." "Come." Serenia rose gracefully from his lap and crossed to the workbench. Her movements were smooth, almost hypnotic. She picked up a set of tools and began inspecting the relay parts, her silver-blue fingers moving with careful precision. "I have already examined the components," she said calmly. "Your distress beacon is beyond repair. But there may be another way." Kalen frowned, dragging himself out of the warmth of the makeshift bed. "What do you mean?" She held up a small crystalline object, its surface pulsing with faint inner light. "It wasn't human tech. This is a Velari neural conduit," she explained. "It is designed to amplify thought frequencies into transmittable waves. With your engineering skill and my guidance, we might create a long-range signal." Kalen's eyes narrowed. "That's not possible. Human brains don't send that kind of data." Serenia's gaze softened. "That is why I am here." Kalen's stomach tightened. He had heard rumors of Velari tech before, but never anything like this. They were said to work with energy at a level humans didn't understand. Neural frequencies, thought transmissions. It all sounded like fantasy. But he had no other options. As they worked side by side, the lines between duty and something more began to blur. Serenia's hands sometimes brushed his. Her eyes would linger a moment too long. Kalen tried to focus on the circuits, the calculations, the fragile connections of copper and crystal. But his thoughts wandered to the way her hair shimmered in the light, or the way her lips curved slightly when she concentrated. Hours passed. Finally, Kalen leaned back and rubbed his eyes. "This conduit, where did you get it?" Serenia's hands paused. She set the device down carefully before answering. "It is part of the Velari core nexus," she said softly. "Buried beneath Orvanis 9. Kalen blinked. "You mean there's a Velari system here?" "Yes, an ancient one. My mission was to study it, guard it." Her voice lowered. "And now it may be our only hope." Kalen's mind raced. The Velari core nexus wasn't just tech. According to scattered reports, it was a form of consciousness amplifier, a device that could link minds across galaxies or destroy them if misused. "You want me to help you activate it?" His tone was sharp. "I want you to help me send a message," she corrected. But her voice trembled just a little. Kalen stood, pacing. "Do you understand what you're asking? Human minds aren't ready for Velari-level neural linkages. We could fry ourselves, melt our brains." Her eyes met his with quiet intensity. "I understand the risks. But if we do nothing, no one will find us." And if others discover this technology before we do, they could weaponize it. Kalen's chest tightened. He thought of the scavenger fleets roaming the outer systems. People who would kill for tech like this, sell it to the highest bidder. Use it to control minds, not connect them. I can't decide this right now. He whispered. Serenia stepped closer, her voice barely above a breath. I trust you, Kalen. That trust made his heart ache. She reached out, her fingers hovering near his arm, but not touching it. I feel your hesitation, but I also feel something else. Kalen swallowed hard. He was supposed to be logical, analytical, but her presence made that impossible. You don't even know me, he whispered. Her eyes softened. I know enough. I know that when you touched the conduit earlier, it responded to you. Your neural patterns are compatible with Velari technology. Kalen's breath caught in his throat. That wasn't possible. He wasn't special. He was just a systems engineer from the outer colonies. But deep down, something told him she was right. That night, as they prepared for sleep, the wind howled outside again. Kalen tried to lie down alone, pulling his blanket tight. Serenia sat beside him quietly, wrapping her arms around her knees. I will not force contact, she whispered. But warmth is still needed. Her voice was gentle, patient. Kalen hesitated only a moment before lifting the blanket. She slid beneath it, her body close, but not pressing too hard. He could feel her breath, soft against his collarbone. His mind spun with questions about the artifact, about the danger, about trust. But for now, he closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, he let someone stay. The cold on Orvanis 9 was not ordinary cold. It seeped into bones, curled between layers of clothing, and numbed thoughts until all that remained was survival instinct. That night, the wind screamed harder than before, rattling the walls of the shelter like invisible claws. Kalen adjusted the thermal regulator for the third time. The device blinked weakly, its power reserves draining fast. He cursed under his breath misting in the air. The outpost shielding is failing, Serenia said softly from behind him. She sat cross-legged near the glowing remnants of the relay crystals. Her silver-blue skin shimmered in the dim light, but her face remained calm. Kalen rubbed his forehead. I can reroute energy to the heater, but if I do that, we lose the conduit. Her eyes met his. We cannot risk the conduit. He knew she was right, but knowing didn't make it easier to accept the frost creeping under his skin. I've survived cold before, Kalen muttered, trying to sound tougher than he felt. His hands trembled slightly as he adjusted the tools. Serenia tilted her head, her gaze steady. There is another way. Kalen's stomach tightened. He knew what she was about to say, and part of him both dreaded and longed for it. She moved closer, her silver-blue fingers resting lightly on the blanket beside him. Direct contact will preserve both our core temperatures. He swallowed hard. You mean like body heat? Yes. Shared warmth is the logical solution. Her voice stayed calm, but something flickered in her eyes, a reflection of the same uncertainty he felt. Kalen's mouth went dry. His heart pounded, faster than when they'd fixed the Gamma ray or dodged debris in space. This wasn't engineering. This wasn't survival training. This was something else entirely. I'm not good at that kind of closeness, he whispered, his voice barely audible over the wind. Serenia's gaze softened, her silver lashes lowering slightly. I understand. But she didn't move away. Kalen looked at his hands, strong hands, calloused from years of tools, cables, starship hulls. Hands that never trembled during repairs, but trembled now. It's not just about heat, is it? He asked finally. Her lips parted, and her voice came softer than before. No, it is not. Silence stretched between them, filled only by the distant howl of the storm.crin. Yi reached into her pouch and pulled out the neural conduit crystal. Its soft light pulsed, reflecting off her skin. She placed it gently between them. "I propose an experiment," she said, her tone shifting from personal to technical, as if that would make it easier for both of them. "If we share warmth while holding the conduit, it may stabilize the device. Velari neural systems respond to emotional balance. Perhaps human systems do as well." Kalen stared at the crystal, then at her. "So, we cuddle with alien tech and hope for the best?" Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "Essentially, yes." Against every logical protest in his mind, he found himself nodding. They settled onto the sleeping mat together, the conduit placed between them. Serenia slid under the blanket first, curling her slender frame beside him. Her skin was cooler than his, but the moment she pressed close, her temperature shifted, adapted. Her arm wrapped gently around his waist, her cheek resting near his collarbone. He tried to keep his breathing steady, but his heart betrayed him, thudding wildly in his chest. "I can hear it," she whispered. "Hear what?" "Your heart." Kalen closed his eyes. "That's not helping." Her soft laughter vibrated against him, sending tiny waves of warmth through his skin. "This is fascinating," she murmured. "Your emotional responses influence the conduit's readings." Kalen glanced down at the crystal. It glowed brighter, pulsing in time with their shared heartbeat. Serenia's hand brushed his, her long fingers intertwining with his clumsy human. "Ones. Let it happen," she whispered. He did. For the first time in years, he stopped fighting the walls he'd built around himself. He let her touch mean something. He let the cold outside fade into the background. The neural conduit responded immediately. Suddenly, images flickered across Kalen's mind. Not memories exactly, but flashes of Serenia's thoughts. He saw the violet fields of Velari Prime, the way her people linked minds during ceremonies, the deep loneliness she carried on this distant moon. He felt her loneliness like his own. Tears stung the corners of his eyes. "I didn't mean for you to see that," she whispered. "It's okay." He whispered back. Her body shifted slightly, curling closer. The conduit's light wrapped around them both, weaving invisible threads between their thoughts. Then Kalen's own memories surfaced. The empty apartment back home. The late nights staring at ship schematics instead of calling friends. The quiet ache of choosing solitude because it was safer. Serenia pressed her forehead gently against his. "I see you." The words sliced through him, raw and real. The conduit pulsed brighter, surrounding them in a soft halo of light. Kalen felt warmth, not just on his skin, but inside his chest. A warmth he hadn't known he needed. The storm outside raged on. But inside the shelter, something shifted. He realized this wasn't just an experiment. This was trust. This was connection. And for the first time in his life, Kalen Joran didn't want to pull away. The morning after the neural fusion, the shelter felt different. Kalen woke with Serenia's arm still loosely draped over his chest, the neural conduit dim beside them. His thoughts were clearer, but his emotions weren't. He had seen too much of her, of himself. His mind swam with images from the shared connection, her loneliness, his fear of failure, their intertwined need for something more than survival. As he lay there, breathing slow and careful, the outside winds calmed for the first time in days. The storm had finally broken, but something worse was coming. A sharp crackle from the makeshift com relay snapped Kalen out of his thoughts. He sat up carefully, so as not to disturb Serenia, but her eyes were already open. Her silver-blue gaze met his silently. They both heard it, the distinct ping of approaching ships. Kalen's stomach sank. That's not a rescue team. Serenia sat up, her expression unreadable. No. He scrambled to the console, checking the crude display. The signal was unmistakable. Unregistered human vessels, 6 of them, in low orbit pirates. Scavengers. Maybe worse. Kalen's chest tightened, as memories rushed back from his time in the colonies. He'd heard stories of the Shadow Fleet's rogue humans who hunted for alien tech in the outer systems. They didn't ask questions. They took what they wanted. Do you think they detected the conduit? He asked, though he already knew the answer. Yes, Serenia said softly. Her hands moved quickly, wrapping the conduit in fabric and hiding it in the storage hatch beneath the floor. Her calm focus didn't fool him. He could feel her pulse through the link they shared. It was fast. Controlled but fast. Kalen stood, pulling on his jacket. We should run. Her gaze stopped him. There's nowhere to go. He hated that. She was right. Orvanis 9 was ice cliffs, frozen oceans, and lifeless plains. No place to hide from orbit-tracking ships. They'll land here, he whispered. Serenia's eyes narrowed. Then we act like we have nothing. Kalen nodded, his mind racing. No tech, no conduit, just crash survivors. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. Exactly. It didn't take long. Within an hour, the scavenger ship thundered into view, kicking up ice and debris as it landed nearby. Kalen and Serenia stood at the entrance of their shelter, hands visible, faces calm. The ship's ramp lowered with a mechanical hiss, and a figure emerged. Eric Van. Kalen recognized him instantly. Eric wasn't just a scavenger. He was infamous in the outer sectors. A smuggler, tech thief, and ruthless negotiator. His gray coat flapped in the icy wind as he approached, his eyes sharp beneath frost-rimmed goggles. Well, well, Eric drawled, stopping a few feet away. Imagine finding company all the way out here. Kalen kept his face neutral. Emergency crash landing. Just trying to stay alive. Derek's gaze slid to Serenia, lingering longer than necessary. And you brought a Velari with you. Fancy. She's my partner in repairs, Kalen replied flatly. Derek grinned, but his eyes stayed cold. I'm sure she is. Behind him, armed crew members fanned out across the frozen ground, scanning the area with tech sensors. We picked up unusual signals last night, Eric said casually. Thought we'd check it out, Kalen shrugged. Must have been the relay. We're trying to fix it. Derek stepped closer. His breath came out in misty clouds. Problem is, my scanners say something else. Serenia stood still, calm as ice. Her voice was soft but steady. We have nothing of value. Derek tilted his head. That's funny, because my ship registered neural energy spikes. You two experimenting with Velari artifacts out here? Kalen's throat tightened. We're just trying to survive the cold. Derek chuckled, but there was no humor in it. His eyes narrowed, his gaze sharp like a blade. See, the thing is, I don't like being lied to. His men moved closer, weapons low but ready. Kalen felt Serenia's fingers brush his hand lightly. No one else would have noticed, but through the link they shared, he felt her silent message. Stay calm. We're not lying, Kalen said, forcing his voice steady. Derek's lips curled. Maybe, but we'll search anyway. 2 scavengers. Pushed past, entering the shelter without permission. Kalen's stomach twisted, but he kept his face neutral. Serenia's mind touched his briefly, a quiet whisper in the back of his thoughts. They won't find it. I hid it beneath the neural frost layer. It masks energy readings. Kalen nodded slightly, careful not to reveal the communication. Derek's. Men returned after a few tense minutes. Nothing here, boss, one muttered. Derek's gaze stayed locked on Kalen. I don't believe in coincidences. A Velari guardian and a human engineer stuck on Orvanis 9 during a random storm? No. Kalen shrugged. Believe what you want. Derek's eyes narrowed. His smile faded. "You're going to help me find that tech," he said, his voice low now. "Or I'll leave you both here to freeze." The cold wind bit at Kalen's face, but his blood boiled. "I won't help you," he whispered. Serenia stepped forward slightly, her silver blue eyes shining. "Neither will I." Derek's hand twitched near his belt, fingers grazing the hilt of his pulse knife. But he didn't draw it. "Not yet. We'll see about that," he muttered. His crew returned to the ship, leaving behind 3 guards to watch Kalen and Serenia. The scavenger ship's engines hummed as it powered down for the night. As the sky darkened again, Kalen stood beside Serenia, their backs straight, their minds linked. He felt her resolve like a steady pulse in his chest. They had survived the cold. Now they had to survive this, and somehow protect the secret buried beneath the ice. Night on Urvanus 9 brought silence again, but this time it wasn't peaceful. Kalen and Serenia sat close inside the shelter, their backs against the frozen wall. Outside, Derek's guards patrolled the ice, their shadows flickering in the dim glow of portable lamps. The neural conduit remained hidden beneath the frost layer, but Kalen's heart pounded harder than ever. "We can't let them find the core nexus," Serenia whispered, her breath soft against his ear. Kalen stared at the floor, his jaw tight. "They'll tear the whole moon apart to get it." Serenia reached for his hand, fingers slipping between his. Through the link, he felt her calm pulse, steady and deliberate. "There is another way," she whispered. Kalen turned to her, eyes sharp. "Another way?" "Yes," she said softly. "We activate the core nexus." His stomach tightened. "That'll light up every scanner in this sector." Serenia nodded slowly. "True, but if we activate it fully, it will create a mind shield. No ship, no crew, no weapon will be able to penetrate it." Kalen's pulse quickened. "That kind of tech, it's dangerous." Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. "It's not a weapon, Kalen. It's a protector. The core nexus is designed to guard life, not destroy it." "But it links minds," he whispered. "If we activate it, I don't know what will happen to me." Serenia's grip tightened slightly. "I do." Images flickered between them again, through the link flashes of Velari elders connecting to the nexus. Hearts merging, minds expanding beyond fear. Kalen saw it in his mind's eye. Peace, not power. Still he hesitated. "I'm not Velari," he said quietly. "What if I can't handle it?" Serenia's voice came softly but firmly. "You're more than human, Kalen. You're open." His throat tightened. "Open to what?" "To trust," she whispered. "To connection." Kalen's hand trembled in hers. Outside, footsteps crunched in the snow. Derek's men circled the shelter again, weapons scanning for signals. Time was running out. Kalen closed his eyes, feeling the pull of something deeper than fear a pull. Toward Serenia, toward the conduit, toward something unknown. "All right," he whispered. "Let's do it." They moved quickly. Serenia pulled the conduit from beneath the frost layer, her hands delicate but sure. The crystal pulsed with faint light, growing brighter as she cradled it. Kalen knelt beside her, his heart racing. "Tell me what to do." "Place your hand here." She guided him gently, his palm pressing against the conduit's surface. The moment his skin touched it, warmth flooded through him. Not physical warmth, but something else, like being submerged in light. "Now close your eyes," she whispered. Kalen obeyed. Images exploded behind his closed lids. Galaxies spiraling, life forms blooming, connections weaving across time and space. He saw Serenia as a child, studying in Velari temples. He saw himself younger, fixing old machines alone in dusty workshops. He felt her loneliness, his isolation. And then he felt their minds merge fully. The conduit's light surrounded them both, creating a sphere of energy that radiated beyond the walls of the shelter. Outside, Derek's men shouted in confusion. Their scanners crackled and died. Their weapons flickered uselessly. What the... Derek's voice echoed from the ridge. What are they doing? But Kalen couldn't hear him anymore. All he heard was Serenia's voice in his mind, soft, but clear. We are becoming more than two people now, Kalen. We are becoming part of the Nexus. His breath hitched. Part of him wanted to pull away, but the other part, the part that remembered years of loneliness, of fear, of holding back, surrendered. And the shield rose. Invisible to the eye, but solid as stone. A mental barrier stretched outward from the shelter. It wrapped around the entire valley, pushing back the scavenger signals, neutralizing every weapon, scrambling every sensor. Kalen felt the connection deepen. He could sense the emotions of the scavengers: confusion, anger, fear. But none of them could breach the barrier. Not with violence, not with tech, only with understanding. Serenia's hand tightened around his inside the shield. There was no cold, no danger. Only warmth, only connection. Kalen's lips parted in a quiet breath. He wasn't alone anymore. The morning light revealed a changed world. A scavenger ship lay silent on the ice. Derek's crew stood frozen not by the cold, but by the impossibility of their situation. Their weapons were dead. There. Comms wouldn't work. The energy field shimmered softly around them, invisible but absolute. Inside the shelter, Kalen and Serenia still sat together, hands pressed to the neural conduit. A connection between them had settled into something stable, something new. Kylan's heart beat calmly now, in rhythm with hers. This is different, he whispered. Serenia smiled softly, her silver blue eyes reflecting the conduit's light. It is unity. He took a slow breath, feeling her thoughts as clearly as his own. There were no barriers left. What happens next? He asked, his voice steady. Serenia's hand brushed his. We choose? Kalen's eyes narrowed. Choose what? Whether to end the link or continue. His chest tightened. Part of him wanted to go back to normal life, to ships and circuits, repairs and isolation. A life he understood, but another part of him, stronger, now wanted more. The door to the shelter creaked as Derek stumbled inside, his eyes wild. What did you do? He demanded, his voice trembling. Kalen stood slowly, his hand still holding Serenia's. We activated something you don't understand, Kalen said quietly. Derek's gaze darted between them. Shut it down. We can't, Serenia said softly. Derek's face twisted. You think you're heroes? This tech will tear you apart. Kalen shook his head. No, it will change us. For the first time, Derek's bravado faltered. He looked at the crystal in their hands, its gentle pulse reflecting in his eyes. This isn't what I wanted. Serenia stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. Then you need to choose too. Derek's lips pressed into a hard line. He looked like a man standing at the edge of something vast and terrifying. Choose. What? He whispered. To stay outside the connection or step into it? Kalen could feel Derek's fear through the link now. He wasn't just a scavenger. He was a man drowning in greed, yes, but also in loneliness. The same kind Kalen had carried for years. Serenia extended her hand. You can join us, she whispered. Derek's eyes narrowed. His hands twitched toward his belt, but there were no weapons left to grab. Minutes passed. Finally, Derek sank to his knees, his shoulders shaking. I don't know how. Kalen knelt beside him. His voice came out softer than he expected. Just stop fighting. He offered his hand. Slowly, Derek took it. The conduit's light expanded again, wrapping around all three of them. Not forced. Not taken. Chosen. And in that moment, Kalen understood the truth. The Valerie Nexus wasn't about technology. It wasn't about power. It was about letting go of isolation. Letting go of fear. Outside, the scavenger crew dropped there. Weapons. Some fell to their knees. Others simply stared at the sky, as if seeing it for the first time above them. The ice cliffs reflected the soft glow of the Nexus. Inside, Kalen pressed his forehead gently against Serenia's. Her thoughts echoed. In his mind, we are no longer alone. And for the first time in his life, Kalen truly believed it. The next day began without alarms, without panic, and without fear. For the first time since Kalen had crash-landed on Uranus 9, the ice winds felt calm, almost welcoming. Kalen stood at the ridge near the shelter, staring at the horizon. The neural conduit rested in his hands, its pulse now soft and steady, like a heartbeat that matched his own. Behind him, Serenia approached quietly. Her silver-blue cloak fluttered in the gentle breeze. "You're still thinking about it," she whispered, sensing his thoughts before he could speak. He smiled faintly. Hard not to. The connection between them was permanent now. Not forced, not heavy. Just there woven into the way they breathed, the way they moved. Kalen could feel the scavenger crew, too. Their minds were quiet, more peaceful than the day before. Derek stood nearby, speaking quietly with his team, no longer barking orders, but listening. "They've changed," Kalen said softly. Serenia's gaze followed his. "So have you." He chuckled, his breath curling in the cold. "Yeah, I guess I have." For the first time in his life, he didn't feel like running from it. They walked together down the ridge, side by side. The scavengers watched them approach, but didn't reach for weapons. There was no need. Derek stepped forward, his expression different, now no longer the harsh leader of a rogue crew, but something softer. A man learning how to be part of something bigger than himself. "I don't know what you did," Derek said, his voice rough but honest. "But I feel it." Kalen nodded. "So do I." Serenia's eyes shone like the morning frost. "It's not about what we did. It's about what we chose." Derek's gaze dropped to the conduit in Kalen's hands. "What happens now?" Kalen glanced at Serenia, then back at Derek. "We build something new." The scavenger crew shifted nervously, unsure of what that meant. Serenia stepped forward, her voice calm but powerful. "This moon is no longer just ice and stone. It's a nexus point now, a place for connection." Derek frowned slightly. "So what, you're making a new colony here?" "Not exactly," Kalen said. "More like a beginning." They spent the next hours setting up a new signal beacon, not for scavengers or warships, but for travelers, explorers, and outcasts who needed a place to belong. A place where connection wasn't just possible, it was expected. Kalen worked side by side with Serenia, guiding cables, calibrating systems, and teaching the scavenger crew how to repair what they'd once tried to steal. Derek surprised everyone by pitching in, soldering relay joints, and even laughing at Kalen's terrible jokes. As the day stretched into evening, the first message was sent from Uranus 9 into the galaxy. A simple message, but one that would echo far beyond the cold edges of space. To anyone who hears this, you are not alone. Come if you seek connection. Come if you're ready to stop surviving and start living. This is a sanctuary. Kalen's hand hovered over the console, his heart steady. Serenia stood beside him, her presence woven into his every thought now. She smiled, her silver-blue eyes reflecting the soft light of the conduit. "They'll come," she whispered. He nodded. "Yeah, they will." That night, as the ice winds faded into silence, Kalen and Serenia stood on the observation platform of the scavenger ship, now repurposed as the first outpost of the Nexus. Above them, the stars shimmered. Kalen felt Serenia's hand slip into his, her touch warm, her thoughts brushing his gently. "We changed something," he whispered. "Yes," she whispered back. "We changed everything." The neural conduit pulsed softly between them, But it wasn't the tech that made Kalen's chest feel light. It was the connection, the choice to let someone in. They sat together in the quiet, watching the stars move across the sky. Kalen thought about all the places he could have ended up after the crash, the loneliness he could have chosen, the walls he could have kept up, but he hadn't. And neither had she. They had chosen trust. They had chosen warmth, that they had chosen love, not the simple kind, but the kind that rewired everything from the inside out. As dawn touched the ice cliffs with pale gold, Kalen smiled softly. For the first time in his life, he wasn't just fixing things. He was building something new. Together.